Alright, sit down, put your seatbelts on, or don't. We're all adults here trying to act like we understand the market. And let me explain you why everyone is almost always wrong.
Meme away, we're escaping the matrix. Meme away, we're escaping
GM. Hi, welcome back. My name is Mimobai, and today I want to explain to you why I think that, why I think I know that everyone is almost always wrong. Look, it took me years to understand that. It took me several deaths. It took me a stint as very big savant and someone that was willing to start a hedge fund to understand all of this. Look, everyone is always wrong, okay? Crypto Twitter, wrong. Wall Street, wrong. Me, especially wrong. And you probably also wrong right now. And the sooner you accept that we're all always wrong, the faster you get liberated from this prison of targets and price and path, and something very, very disturbing in stock markets, crypto markets, and all financial markets for that factor. So let's talk about the CT ecosystem of delusion, okay? That's the way I call it. Crypto Twitter, as you may know it, call it CT. Crypto X now, CX doesn't sound so good, so let's stick with CT. And Crypto Twitter is basically a zoo where the animals learned technical analysis. Look, you have the Zoomer who predicts 40k Bitcoin every 2 hours. You have the perma bull who says that everything is bullish, everything is always bullish. An asteroid just hit Manhattan, but it's bullish because, I don't know, rent prices go down now in Manhattan. You have the guy who tweets breakout incoming every 12 hours, feeling like a scheduled job, and let me tell you something, it probably is scheduled. And yeah, you have the meme coin priesthood. Let's just not even talk about them, okay? But the funniest part of all of it is the confidence. People tweet their stuff with the confidence that I would expect a surgeon to do heart surgery with. And they do it over a chart that looks like you gave a 5-year-old MS Paint and TradingView. And the cycle is always the same. Predict something absolutely absurd, be wrong, delete the tweet, retweet something motivational to reset your timeline, like repeat the whole thing. A gym selfie is optional, but always in there as well. And then a mandatory saying, I warned you, or don't fade me, or fade me at your own peril when you were right once. Look, I remember this guy during the whole Germany sells Bitcoin, Mt. Gox collapse, whatever that was, screaming Bitcoin to $12,000. Bitcoin to $12,000. So then Bitcoin completely said fuck you and went all the way up again from the 50k bottom. It retraced a bit to 68, I don't know, 70k, something like that. It retraced a bit, and and I remember the same guy showing up because I didn't follow him, and I wasn't sure if it was the same guy, but I went to check, and he was like, "Yeah, see, 12. I told you so." No, you didn't. Bitcoin went to 68,000. It's literally 56,000 off from what you predicted. So, no, you're not a prophet, okay? You're a broken clock and you're right twice a day, and then again, you can argue. Now, let's talk about the Wall Street, okay? Because people think, oh yeah, but on Wall Street, they know what they're doing. No. Wall Street is crypto Twitter, but with Patagonia vests, okay? I've read analyst reports, okay, that say market outlook neutral, with upside bias unless downside risk materializes. Do you want to know what that means? It means we have no clue what's happening. If it goes down, we're right. If it goes up, we're right. If it does absolutely all, we're also right. It is protecting yourself against any form of being wrong. It just means they have no idea, okay? They just have much better vocabulary to put their immense delusion and immense we don't know into a sentence that reads out much better than, oh yeah, we could go up or we could go down. It's the same energy and it's the same coping. There's no difference between crypto Twitter and Wall Street, in my opinion. It's also when it comes to the systems, right? Let's go on a little rant about trading here. Trading can work. I mean, I've traded myself, and for a brief moment I thought it could work, right? I still sometimes trade, but trading can work. But you're working with mini percentages of EV. So all these systems, Monte Carlo simulations, there are high calculations in Excel, algorithmic, blah 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 blah. It all means jack shit if the market doesn't want to do what you want it to do. And the truth is, it oftentimes doesn't do what you want it to do. Look, listen, I don't want to preach from a throne here, right? I myself like to call myself a savant dégénéré, okay? Why do I do that? Well, I think it takes a certain level of understanding of our world to understand that Bitcoin is the future, but I'm a degenerate. Like, I mean, do I need to make anything more obvious? Do I need to make that point clearer? I don't think I do, huh? So yeah, that's just who I am, you know? I bought Solana at $20 and I felt like I should start a hedge fund when it went to like 294 within 2 years. I felt like I was Warren Buffett already after like 2 years of investing. Sure, I had bought Bitcoin before, but not systematically, not because I thought out this play. But the Solana play was the first thing where I was really like, okay, yeah, I think I have a reason to do this. So I felt like Warren Buffett, right? And I was walking around like, peasants, please step aside. Hedge fund manager coming through. Look, we all, I think if you're in crypto, you have been at that point at a moment in time. And then comes the moment when you learn your lessons. Your entries don't make you a genius. You had decent timing because you were up at the right time. Your wins don't define your skill. Your losses don't define your stupidity for that cause either. And you realize that the only thing that really matters is how long you stay alive. Which also leads you to stay away more and more from futures, I guess, unless you're like really trading, but you know, for long term, I said that in one of my very first videos, stay the f away from everything that you can leverage. And you also understand that nobody, not how did they say it in the Wolf of Wall Street, not Warren Buffett, not Jimmy Buffett, nobody can consistently predict short-term moves, and not even long-term moves for that matter. I mean, saying that markets are going up in the long term is like saying water is blue, you know? The logic behind it, like, oh, you're telling me that an asset that is made to at least track inflation to some degree is actually going up as time goes on? No shit. Thanks for the insight, mate. Let's get a bit more philosophical about this, okay? Humans suck at predicting the future. We try a lot. If you look at human history, we actually try a lot to predict the future. And we're always wrong. We're almost always wrong, right? We are wrong so often that on the rare cases where somebody is right, we call them an absolute genius, a generational genius, you know, a universal genius even. That's how often we are wrong, right? Our brains are like caveman CPUs trying to outcompete AI workflows that can process information like 1 trillion times faster than our brain can. Markets move because of a couple of reasons, right? You have algorithms, you have herd psychology, you have algorithms, you have derivatives, you have algorithms, you have central banks, you have algorithms, you have Elon Musk tweeting about a meme coin, you have algorithms, you have a whale waking up after like 9 months or something and selling, and you have algorithms. Algorithms run this whole shit. Like liquidation algorithms especially, liquidation levels are made to be caught, right? So they move the market most of it. And you can't predict any of that. Because right now, look, I could draw you up a nice liquidation heat map here, and I could tell you, well, we have liquidations below 90k, we have many more liquidations like at 95 to 100k if I remember correctly. But you know, it's gonna get any of these levels. Yeah, well, if it gets to lower levels first, did I predict anything? No, but I was right, got the levels. So no one can predict that, right? Not me, not you, not Jimmy Buffett, not Warren Buffett, not, I don't know, maybe the people at BlackRock can. Maybe they're just so much more intelligent than we are. Well, whatever. The cheat code lies in the fact that you don't need to be right on the micro all the time if you're just right on the macro. Right? You need to be right once to win. Let me tell you something that changed the way I think about it all. And that is the S&P 500. In the 1970s, people were discussing whether $86 or $94 is the right price to get into the S&P 500. I mean, you know, there's still a lot of risk to the downside. What if it goes to $50? Wow, I lost half my money. Go ask anyone that was alive at that time that didn't buy at $94 and ask them today. They would have wished that they bought. Hindsight turns mountains into pebbles. If I checked it this morning, I think the S&P 500 was at like 6,886. Editor, thank you. Obviously, if you had bought at $94, you would have been good, right? And this is, in my humble opinion, where crypto is right now. We are early. We're in a generational accumulation phase. Look, Bitcoin, the white paper of Bitcoin was released in 2008. That gives it 17 years. The S&P 500, or the standard 500, its inaugural date was 1957, if I remember correctly. Add 17 years to that, that's 1974. That's approximately where they were discussing whether $96 or $100 is the right price to buy. You go figure, and you do with that information what you need to do with it. Matter of fact is now people are fighting if, 90K is a good level to buy, or should I wait till it's dropping to 60K because, if it drops to 60K, I lose a third of my money. Oh, fuck. That sucks. Again, you do with that information what you want to do. I think that 60 or 90K one day is going to sound like $1,000 or $900 Bitcoin. It's going to sound like $96 or $84 S&P. It simply won't matter. Bitcoin mostly, but ETH, Solana, Sui, whatever your religion is, they are not assets that we invest in to diversify our portfolio. They are building the future of everything in our world. It is the future. And it's not comparable to blue chip equities, because blue chip equities profit off of a system that exists. Cryptos, and especially Bitcoin, are the future of our world. What we are witnessing right now, I would like to call the messy teenage years of a developing, functioning human being. That's where crypto is at. And if you can stick with that messy teenager and invest in it now, I think you will profit heavily once it grows to a functioning adult. Another thing that I would like to add. Yes, I've said BlackRock is also not always right, or they're also almost always wrong. But do you really think companies like BlackRock, companies that own basically the whole world, Vanek, Vanguard, all of these companies, governments, do you think they buy Bitcoin just for the laughter? Do you think they buy Bitcoin because they think they can make a quick buck out of it? Why would they do that? Why would they do that if they have derivatives on papers that they have so much more data on? They have decades of data on Apple, whatever. They have decades of data on Nvidia stocks, on Procter & Gamble, all of these companies that have been established for decades. If not, some might soon be pushing the century mark. They have so much data on those. They could build systems that have accuracies to the last percentile of the 100. And you think they would choose to invest into Bitcoin just to make that quick buck? That sounds very, very stupid, and it sounds stupid to believe in that, in my opinion. We're always all wrong, and we have to live under those assumptions, so I can also be always wrong. Let me tell you one thing though. These companies, they are not buying this for the quick return. They're not buying this to sell tomorrow. They do. IBIT, inflow, outflows, blah, blah, blah. But that's there to distract you. That's my opinion. Also, on Twitter, you see a lot like people asking, Michael Saylor buys so many Bitcoin, yet the price doesn't go up. How does that work? Well, good question. That's a very good question indeed. And I think that just shows you that something is brewing in the background, which is my basic doctrine for now. I'll buy more Bitcoin. I would suggest you do the same. I would suggest you stay patient, and I would suggest you sometimes blend out all of the noise on crypto Twitter, on Wall Street, or wherever you find your information. Sometimes you just need to sit down and, think for yourself. Sit in quiet, sit in peace, maybe meditate if that helps you, and think. How do you see the future? Because it doesn't matter what anyone else says. What matters is your point of view, is your opinion, and that you have confidence in yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Mimo Way, your self-proclaimed savant dégénéré. That will be it for me today. Stay humble, stay unhinged, stay learning, and stay confident in yourself. GM.